Mr. Chair.
Gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Whitfield.
I have an amendment at the desk. It's R01.
Clerk will report the title of the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 2401 offered by Mr. Whitfield.
I ask unanimous consent that we dispense with the reading.
Amendment will be considered as read. The staff will distribute the amendment, and the gentleman is recognized in support of his amendment for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an amendment offered by Mr. Ross and myself, and yesterday President Obama issued another executive order expressing concern about the unemployment rate going up to 9.2%. And in this executive order issued Monday, he's ordering that all independent regulatory agencies, including EPA, do significant reanalysis of recent regulations that they've issued and the impact that this will have on the economy as well as other aspects of our society. This amendment, I think President Obama would be supportive of our amendment because under the TRAIN Act, we're asking, because EPA is acting with such aggressive issuance of regulations now. They've recently done a greenhouse gas permitting rule, a boiler MACT rule, Utility MACT. They're coming out with new ozone ambient air quality standards early. They've got the cross-state air pollution rule that just came out, coal ash rule, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, greenhouse gas new source performance standards, regional haze rules. They're moving at an unprecedented rate. And the TRAIN Act basically sets up a committee to study the global economic impact on the competitiveness of the United States as a result of the cumulative impact of all these regulations. It also looks at the cumulative cost, and some people have been saying we're not looking at cumulative benefits under the TRAIN Act, but if you look at the language on page 3, it says look at cumulative cost and cumulative benefits, including evaluation. Also, we look at the change in national, state, and regional electricity prices. We look at the change in national, state, and regional fuel prices. We look at the impact on national, state, and regional unemployment and employment figures. We look at the reliability, the impact on the reliability of our electricity grid and the adequacy of bulk power supply. Now, and we also look at the assumptions of EPA in their modeling. And this is important for this reason. All of these regulations, particularly on air transport rules, Utility MACT, relates to the Northeast under the air transport rules particularly. And we hear a lot about the impact that that's having on health for people in the Northeast, which we're all concerned about. But these assumptions, for example, do not take into consideration the impact on the health of young people in Appalachia, in Kentucky, West Virginia, and other parts of the country where a lot of coal is used, because these regulations will put coal utilities and coal miners out of business. And what impact does that have on the health of their children? That is not something that the EPA modeling looks at. So the TRAIN Act asks and requires that they look at their assumptions and make some considerations about this. I might also say that on the Utility MACT, a coalition of unions concluded that based upon EPA data, not a single coal plant in EPA's sample of 200 units, including units with state-of-the-art control equipment, could meet the Utility MACT's combined emission limits. So not one could meet it. So this amendment that we offer today, Mr. Ross and I, simply says that Utility MACT, which is not a final rule yet, cannot be finalized or implemented until 6 months after the study required by the TRAIN Act has been completed. which would be sometime in late July, early August of 2012. It also says that the air transport rule, which has been finalized and is expected to go into effect in January of 2012, just a few months away, that cannot be implemented until 6 months after this additional study has been made. I think we would be irresponsible to not postpone the effective date of these regulations from EPA until after this comprehensive study has been completed on the cumulative impact of cost and benefits. And I would urge every member to support this amendment.